What's happening? What's popping, everybody? This is the BBC King himself. If you guys don't get the context, Gypsy King and Maddie Brawl. First of all, make sure to check out those channels. I'm pretty sure you guys are already subbed to them, but they did impersonation videos, and it's a pretty cool like tagline. They tagged me, but there's like impersonations of other PokeTubers, and it's all for fun. So if any of you guys upload, make sure to like if you guys want to do the tag video, I definitely suggest it, as it has been fun for everybody that's been uploading. I heard Gypsy King try to impersonate a Texan, and it was the greatest. Another video that you guys need to check out is Ricardo just uploaded. He's now uploading. Ricardo is somebody who is very prominent in the Smogon community. He uploads a lot of really good content going forward. He only has 2 videos up, but the other video relative to this video is that he and the boys, being Gypsy King, Matty Brawlick, Seb, uploaded this match live, and they have competitive content, but they have a lot of humor in that match too. So if you guys want to check out this game and another person's perspective of like a group of like 6 people or whatever, I'll link that video in the description below. Make sure to check out that video. Make sure to sub to Ricardo, because he's got like the best accent ever, and he's really funny. So yeah, back to this matchup now. Kind of long intro, but yeah, we're not having a team builder this week, and the reason why is because there's a strong possibility I'm going to be facing Joel later on in the playoffs. If I make the playoffs, he makes the playoffs, yada yada. But I'll go over the team a little bit, but I'm not going to go in like super detail, as I don't really need to. But the first mon that we have is Assault Vest Kieran Black. And Kieran Black, it is so freaking bulky, and so like the first thing that you see like across the screen is kind of funny, because like the mons across kind of check the one in front of it. But yeah, anyways, AV Kieran Black gives me a really good switch in to things like Nidoking if Nidoking isn't carrying superpower, which it obviously can carry superpower, because I do have a Snorlax and a Kieran Black, but I probably can play around the superpower with Nidoking, but if it's a special variant with maybe like a Shadow Ball, or even something to hit the Mew, that can be kind of scary. But the AV on my Kieran Black can also take a hit from Draco Lottie if he's not Z-Move Draco. And if he is Z-Move Draco, then I might be able to play around it. But pretty much any Draco from Lottie, other than the Z-Move Draco, my Kieran Black can live. So that's really good for me. Next mon that we have is Mew. So Mew is here to obviously check the Mega Lopunny, is that it threatens it out with the Psychic, or I mean, pretty much anything. It can take hits for days from Mega Lopunny, and more importantly though, what I need it for is just to remove hazards. So he has 3 potential rockers. I don't expect Ferrothorn to be rocks, because he has Metagross and his Nidoking that can get up rocks. He has spikes on Ferrothorn, he has toxic spikes on Nidoking, and I fully expect him to bring spikes versus me. Now another thing with Ferrothorn is that I don't have a grass type on my draft, and because of that, Ferrothorn I knew was definitely coming, because it can just get up spikes, it can get up hazards, it can Leech Seed literally for free, because I have no counterplay to Leech Seed, and kind of go from there. And as you can see, like Nidoking with toxic spikes definitely can wear down things like my Mew. That will help his Mega Lopunny, so I definitely gotta watch out for that, as I am packing the Lumberry. So you're gonna be seeing that. That's gonna come into play, because Mega Lopunny, they generally, tend to carry things like Toxic in draft format for things like Mew. So I have Lumberry for that, and um, to help me versus potential even Toxic, Lottie, or T-Spikes from Nidoking. So next mon that we have is a Volcanion. This Volcanion is here to defensively check things like Talonflame, which he didn't bring. It can threaten the majority of his team, bar Latias, with just its dual stabs being, Flamethrower, Steam Eruption for pretty much everything else. Flamethrower to threaten the Ferrothorn. And I'm packing the Shuckaberry here. Shuckaberry is going to be helpful because I can live an Earth Power or an Earthquake from Nidoking. It can help me versus Earthquake, Metagross, and just kind of go from there. Next mon that we have is Snorlax. Now Snorlax here is kind of an interesting set. You generally see things like Assault Vest on Snorlax or even Curselax, but neither of them really fit the toll for this matchup. What I needed from Snorlax is just to have general coverage to hit his team. I'm going to be packing the Crunch for things like Metagross, Return for general stab, and Fire Punch for the Ferrothorn. And he also had a Mismagius, which I'm kind of surprised I didn't see the Mismagius because I'll kind of go over that in a second, but I also packed Resto Chesto on Snorlax just in case if this thing were to get statused, I can, or even just worn down at any point in time, even if my Snorlax gets weakened, I can just at any point in time just Resto Chesto and I'm back again once again, as my boy King Nappy says. So next we have Gardevoir. Gardevoir is meant to just defensively check things like Latios and offensively pressure Latios, and it has coverage to hit a lot of his teams. Like I can Psychic the Nidoking, I can HB Fire the Ferrothorn, I can Shadow Ball the Metagross, and because of Gardevoir's coverage and its strong special attack, it definitely threatens his team a lot. And the last mon that we have is Mega Heracross, and this thing is so good. So I'm kind of surprised from this team of 6 that I kind of really expected him to either bring the Mismagius or the Talonflame. I definitely understand why he didn't bring Talonflame because I could have easily brought Kabutops, and I also have a Volcanion, and I mean other things as well. But offensively, he doesn't really have much to really put pressure onto this Heracross, and Heracross outspeeds things like his Electros, his Ferrothorn, and maybe even his Metagross, depending on what his Metagross is. And it can defensively take hits from things like a Mega Lopunny and Ferrothorns and even Electros. So and his Bug Resist is Nidoking, which gets 2 KO'd by Pin Missile, and Mega Lopunny that gets pretty much 2 KO'd. So yeah, I really I'm curious to see what he has for a well-played Mega Heracross. So let's get into the match. Okay, so we lead off with Mew. He leads off with his Metagross. I led off with my Mew just to get off a taunt because I really, the only thing that I really want Mew for is to be a Lopunny switch in and then just deflect hazards. So I go for a taunt here as he goes out into his Lottie, knowing that Lottie can deal with any variant of Mew for the most part, and it can just, threaten me out with a Draco or something like that. So next he goes into his Electros, and I don't want to make the absolutely obvious play into his Gardevoir onto the Lottie because he has 2 Steel types and a Nidoking that can easily switch into the Gardevoir. So he goes out into his Electros, we both make a middle ground plays here, as this Snorlax easily could have taken a Draco and went on from there, but Draco would have lost a lot of momentum if he would have went for Draco there, as I did have the Gardevoir. But so once again, he just goes out into his Electros and he fires off a Super Fang. Super Fang was definitely a good bring because I mean I do have a Cofagrigus, but I didn't bring it obviously this matchup, and he just gets a free 50% off on something as I just go for a Crunch here. And so I scouted the damage, and he's got, he doesn't have leftovers, so I don't really know what his item is, but Electros is usually AV, and he's got a decent amount of defense investment. It's not max HP, max defense, but he's got definitely some defensive EVs. So next he just goes for a knockoff. He could. The thing is that I do want to keep around my Snorlax, but it's not like the end of the world if I lose it. And I go for a crunch here because one, another return wouldn't have killed Electros. Two, I don't want to give Metagross a free switch in to just get up rocks versus me. And yeah, so that's why I went for a crunch. And he doesn't have a dark resist because Mega Lopunny didn't Mega right off the bat. And crunch would have, getting crunch damage even off on the Mega Lopunny that turn would have been good. But he goes for a knock. As now he's just going to go for a Volt Switch, just getting momentum. As that's the other thing why I stayed in with Snorlax here all this time to get my Snorlax worn down so much. Is that I didn't want to lose momentum because at any point in time Electros could have clicked Volt Switch. So I was kind of forced to stay in with my Snorlax. As here he goes out in his Nidoking. As I go for a return. So obviously I've shown that I've had crunch and return. And he wants to keep his Ferrothorn around and his Metagross around to take hits from things like my Kyurem Black, as I can safely assume that Ferrothorn or Metagross are for the Kyurem Black. And he goes out in his Nidoking, and unfortunately that wasn't. I mean, it was a very difficult turn for him because if I Fired Punched and he went out into Ferrothorn, that could have been GG right there because Kyurem Black could have just cleaned up. Depending on his team. And yeah, so unfortunately, well, it's good for me but bad for him that I go for a return, as now I'm going to be able to 2 KO him and he gets up his rocks. And yeah, so there obviously I go for Fire Punch just in case he goes out in Ferrothorn. But yeah, and I'm okay with revealing that I have Fire Punch because yeah, I'm okay with that. So now Volt Switch last turn went, and as you can see my Snorlax is at 16%. At last time it did 17%, and it's actually a roll to kill my it's actually roll. So yeah, it's actually a roll to kill my Snorlax here with Volt Switch. And I didn't really think that he was gonna Volt Switch this turn, but I wanted to keep Snorlax as a sack fodder, and he actually does go for the Volt Switch here. I'm not sure how I feel about that play too much because I felt like a better play was to, I don't know, I mean, I understand I guess why he went out to Electros. He was hoping to get the roll, but the thing too was I know why he didn't want to go out in the Mega Lopunny, because then I would have got a free switch in a Mew, and then I would have been able to defog potentially the hazards away, and it would have been a bad time. But anyways, I just go out into his Mew, and so now he goes out in the Metagross, hard into Metagross onto Mew, and he is able to trick me a Choice Scarf, which limits my Mew now. But the thing is, like, all I needed Mew for was, once again, take a hit from Mega Lopunny and defog. So next, I'm just gonna go out into my Volcanion onto the Metagross. It's a safe switch, as he goes for Earthquake because my Mew wasn't gonna stay in on a Choice Scarf defog, and I was probably gonna go out into my Volcanion, but there's no way. My like EQ resist is a Heracross, and I'm not gonna switch my Heracross in on a potential Zen Headbutt or things like that. So I make the good play here and go into the Volcanion, and he makes a even better play going for the Shuka Berry, but I do carry the Shuka Berry, so that's really good for me. So now this is every single game I kind of say this is the play of the game. So this particular turn is the play of the game. This is the most important turn of the game right here, as it's Mega Latias versus my Mega Heracross. He switched his Mega Latias in on a Volcanion, as you know, that's Mega Latias can pretty much deal with anything that Volcanion wants to do, pretty much literally everything. So I go out into my Heracross onto the Metagross, because I really don't expect him to stay in, and he could potentially sack his Electros, or I don't know, whatever. But he goes out in a Latias, and he goes for a Calm Mind this turn. And the reason why he went for a Calm Mind is that he could have just taken out my Mega Heracross right here, and he really did not expect me to keep my Heracross in versus a Latias, right? So, you know, why would I keep a Heracross in versus a Latias when I need Heracross to break the rest of his team, like his Mega Lopunny, his Metagross, his Ferrothorn? Pretty much Mega Heracross cleans up. Why in the world would I stay in on a potential Life Orb Psychic and potentially knock out my Mega Heracross? I don't know. I actually forgot that Heracross was weak to Psychic, and I really don't know what I'm doing in Pokemon. So that's kind of the understanding on that play. I kind of assumed that Mega Latias was weak to Bug, but so yeah, I make that play, and I'm just gonna sack my Snorlax here, as I want to keep my Mega Heracross around, as once again it can late game sweep him, because Mega Heracross potentially can outspeed things like his Ferrothorn. Well, it's obviously gonna outspeed his Ferrothorn, his Electros, and it might outspeed his Metagross depending. Now, I mean, he's already shown Scarf, so I might not be able to. But anyways, yeah. So he's gonna just kill off my Snorlax here, as I was just trying to sack it. As now I can just get a free switch into my Volcanion. He could go for the Earthquake crit, as that's what he goes for, and that does 45%. I think, yeah, I think I calced it post game, but he would need a high roll max roll crit, I think, in order to kill me. And it's actually a roll to kill him with Flamethrower. I don't know his exact EVs, but I do get a average roll. I mean, once again, I don't, if he had any HP, then I would have had to get a high roll. But I think no HP investment, I think Flamethrower does like 60-ish. I don't know, but yeah, anyways, I'm able to take out the Metagross, and he's not able to crit my Volcanion. So here the game's looking pretty good for me, as I'm up 5-3 versus a very good opponent, Jolt, and I'm feeling myself. So right now it's just I don't want to choke the game, and he could have things like Cosmic Power Lopunny, he could have things like Substitute Mega Lopunny, he could have just like random stuff on Mega Lopunny, and not wanting to choke this game away, I'm just gonna stay in with my Volcanion. Obviously keeping Volcanion around would have been good for things like Ferrothorn, to Flamethrower, and just to knock out the Electros. I didn't feel like going out into Mew was a play there, and sacking my Mew was a play, because just in case he went for a sub, and I don't know, I didn't know what his Lopunny was, so I didn't want to do that play. So now I'm just gonna go out into my Mega Heracross. And yeah, I kind of low-key expected him to have Substitute, maybe Sub Encore Lopunny, I don't know, something like that. I knew Jolt was gonna have like some like random moves on here, so I'm actually gonna go for a Bullet Seed here. Obviously, if I Bullet Seeded versus a Ferrothorn, that would have been a really odd play, but there's no way you're going Ferrothorn. And I actually go for a Bullet Seed here, just because I forgot Lopunny was weak to fighting. So here he's gonna go for a return, as I'm able to KO this Mega Heracross, or Mega Heracross is able to KO the Mega Lopunny, and now Heracross has gotten 2 kills so far, so that's really nice for me. Has it gotten 2 kills? Maybe. Anyways, yeah. So I got the kill versus Lottie and Mega Lopunny. So next, I'm just gonna Pin Missile here, as I don't want to lower my defenses with a close combat or whatever. As he goes for a Gyro Ball, and that does absolutely nothing. And I'm able to Pin Missile down the Ferrothorn, so we take out that. He didn't show an item, so he's obviously a berry on his Ferrothorn, probably Aqua Berry for meaning he can, you know, switch into Kieran Black a lot better. And next, he's just going to go out into his Electros, which I can just safely go for a Bullet Seed. I only revealed a couple of my moves. I had things like Rock Blast for his potential Talonflame. I had Bullet Seed for his Azumarill in the back. So that's kind of why you saw those coverage. Pin Missile is relatively safe in general. And yeah, so we do manage to get the win versus Jolt. And this was a kind of a pretty convincing win on my end. But the thing is that, one, Jolt could have made a comeback in a couple different times and I didn't choke. So one of them was there was a lot going on during the Lottie play. The thing is that we're gonna back one time back to the Lottie. Let's see, yeah, right here, right? So it was Mega Heracross versus a Lottie, right? And we saw that Mega Heracross kind of cleaned up and he expected me to switch out. But there's kind of a lot of reasons why I didn't switch out. One of them being he could have, I mean, Gardevoir was a pretty obvious switch in to the Lottie, and he could have potentially doubled out onto the Gardevoir. I had a Mew that could have resisted an obvious Psychic, and I had other. There was more going on than just this. I don't want to reveal too much, but it was obviously a turn-deciding game, and because he went for the Calm Mind, I was able to take out one of his potential win cons. And if I do face Jolt in the playoffs, I really expect Jolt to definitely give me a run for my money in the playoffs, as I do have really good team matchup versus him, which definitely came into play too, which kind of decided why he made a couple of plays that he made, is because he had to be a little bit aggressive, but I was able to see through a couple of things and we did able to get the win. So anyways, yeah, we got the win. Enough rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out the other video and stuff in the description below of Ricardo. That's all fun. We're going to keep moving on to week 5 where we're going to face Blake, and yeah, let's try to keep getting the wins. Until next time, I'm signing out. Peace.